She started to have negative effects with it, okay? The reason why her lymphedema started to act up was because of what she was being. When Wendy was falling over the chair and calling out to her mom, even after her mom had died, she was being.
There were many situations, none of which to talk about, but there were many situations back in the day in my career, and it's all coming full circle now, so.
As the mother of a now 16-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Who I met backstage,
He did?
He's a great young man.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You represent a lot.
Joe Rogan has allegedly just dropped a bombshell on how Diddy is involved in what happened to Wendy Williams and how she has completely vanished from the public spotlight over the last few months. Why did nobody notice how she'd been acting?
So she could celebrate with her father and the rest of her family.
So we are doing a documentary on this.
P. Diddy puts on that wild party and, he sets everybody up. Like if you were an intelligence agent, like a Jeffrey Epstein type deal, that'd be the way to do it. Big old crazy party, get everybody loose.
And get the cameras
Get them
rolling.
the yayo. Get them the yayo.
And everything else.
Get them everything you need. Get fired up. Get those cameras rolling. And now you got everybody under wraps.
See a neurologist to find out if I'm crazy?
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. I have to sit down again.
I have no money. And I'm gonna tell you something. If it happens to me, it could happen to you.
We know Wendy has been under insane financial strain in recent times, with people seizing her money and bank accounts under the pretense that she is mentally unstable. But Joe Rogan is now alleging that Diddy might have something to do with what is being done to her. Wendy has been under a court-ordered guardianship since 2022. Her guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, said the original FTD and aphasia diagnosis was the reason Wendy couldn't fully control her personal life or her money. That diagnosis came after hospital stays and worries about her memory, and everyone believed the condition was permanent. But throughout all of this, Wendy kept saying she was still fully aware, and everybody ignored her. Intentionally, it seems.
But she obviously was drinking a lot, okay? What happens next is that Wells Fargo, which didn't know banks could do this, essentially just said, we're gonna freeze all of your bank accounts and petition the court for you to have a temporary financial guardianship. And that happened, okay? They just stopped her being able to have access to her money. They said that it was to protect Wendy Williams' finances and that's the reason that they did it. Suddenly she gets somebody else that becomes her guardian. Like Wells Fargo is somehow able to secure a guardian over her. This woman, who just looks like a villain, is now suddenly in control of her life. She doesn't know this woman. She has no relationship with her. She wasn't her financial advisor, but now she is totally in control of Wendy Williams' life. And so she appeared on Breakfast Club with her niece Alex, and she spoke about what was going on. And here is what Wendy and her niece Alex had to say about it.
I am not cognitively impaired, you know what I'm saying? No, but I feel like I am in prison. You understand what I'm saying?
This is her room. That's literally her apartment. But the thing about this apartment, and you know this, not Wendy, because you're there, it's small. She has a bed, a chair, a TV, a bathroom, and she's looking out one window. The buildings across the street.
So now Wendy Williams is essentially calling on friends to speak out because she can't do anything. Like again, this is the most terrifying thing. I don't even know how this is allowed legally. This should obviously be abolished unless she is physically harming someone.
The entire scheme against her has people absolutely outraged because now new tests show Wendy never had FTD. Then the entire foundation of the guardianship comes into question. Was she placed under strict control without solid medical proof? Was someone trying to silence her? It certainly seems like Wendy made a lot of enemies throughout her career, and one of those enemies, in particular, did not want her exposing him.
What people don't understand about Puff is this. He held the entertainment grip, especially for the people who was his former artists, in a chokehold. If you didn't do what he say do, if he didn't like you, you would never ever work for Bad Boy or anybody in the entertainment business again. He did it to Kirk Burroughs. You understand? He did it to Wendy Williams. He did it to a lot of people, bruh.
Wendy Williams has been calling out Diddy's behavior for years, even when it put her own career at risk. She didn't know everything that was going on behind the scenes, but she definitely heard the whispers. People in the industry would tell her things, and she built her own picture of who Diddy really was. Sometimes that picture slipped into her radio show. People know Wendy Williams has been exposing Puff and others for their foul play since her radio days. In fact, there's a story that Diddy once told Total, the girl group he signed, to jump Wendy because she talked about him on air. That sounds wild, but Wendy herself told this story.
There was an incident a few months before that, and they just had put him outside and everything. About a month and a half before that. Yeah.
I remember I got off the air one day and them the Total downstairs waiting, and everybody upstairs at the radio station is looking down, egging it on, waiting for something to go down. I wasn't yet married. My knight in shining armor screeched up in his car just out of nowhere. I didn't even know what was about to happen. Skell hiding like a girl. Thanks, Skell. I'm standing in the door like, what? And I'm literally about to go through. Now, I'm not like, what, let's fight, because I'm not one of those type of broads. And plus, there was 3 of them. Out of nowhere. This is like I think we were first starting to date. We were brand new into it. You know, there were little signs. You know how little signs kick in that certain people are meant to be in your life and stuff. There were a lot of those that happened before, we actually sealed the deal. And that was like one of them. Like, God only knows what would have happened if I got out on the sidewalk and everything like that. Papers going flying, scale cowering. The little Chinese man that drove the van that they were coming. There was no security or anything. It was just them 3 fighting broads. And me. And my coworkers that shot standing upstairs trying to look down to see it all jump off. They all knew. When I said goodnight to everybody, everybody's pressed up against the window. I didn't even walk or bother asking, what are you all looking for? Because, when the clock strikes, it's time to go. It is time to go. Nobody rushes out of a place faster than me.
And ain't nobody put you on?
No! That's what I'm saying. Nobody put me on. They're all pressed up against the window, looking down, knowing what the hell was about to happen. I didn't get a chance to hit the sidewalk. You know what I'm saying? Before I knew it, out of nowhere, nobody called. It's not even like he knew. It was just like weird, almost like karma. One of those, another sign to say that this is the one for me, I guess, kind of, sort of. Next thing I know, he's out of the car, and there's a whole bunch of rah-rah going on outside, and I'm still trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
It was also during this time that Wendy was saying and revealing things that Diddy didn't exactly like. For example, during the East Coast-West Coast feud, she even ended up with a photo of Diddy's baby being held by Suge Knight. Something Bad Boy absolutely did not want getting out.
Suge Knight. Is it true that Suge Knight took a picture with Misa and Puffy's son Justin, and Puffy found out about the picture and he went crazy? Take me through that, man. How did that come about?
One of those trips, she may have been hired by someone relatable to Death Row, or maybe by Death Row Exec. I don't know. But the check was right, and she took the check, and she went to the West Coast to do the job. Baby Justin was with her. Somehow she was called to that office, I guess, to see the artist or the talent, to meet the people that were cutting the check. And it ended up being Suge Knight, and she was treated very well. I mean, they laid out for her, like, a welcoming mat and all of that. And so well that it got back to the East that she was there in the office, and that Suge was meeting Justin Combs and possibly holding him in his arms, and that there was a photographer taking a picture, and that wasn't the picture that we needed to see on our end or that we wanted the world to see at all. So I remember that day extensively. It hit us like, a rocket launcher or something. It hit us hard. I remember getting off the phone. It was almost damn near half a day, maybe 2, 3 o'clock. And maybe in the afternoon, Wendy Day was promoing, announcing something big was going to happen.
When Wendy teased the big news coming, Diddy stepped in. According to people who were there, he used his power to push her out of Hot 97 by threatening to pull his music from the station.
Wendy Williams was announcing in her super highly rated afternoon show that might have been even syndicated then, that she had big news coming that involved Justin Dior Combs. Perked my ear up. I said, yo, what's going on? We started calling everybody. He was calling me. He got a heads up. He started calling the bosses at Hot 97. The street team was listening. They heard, the executives heard. We instantly all left the office, 19th Street, some in cabs, some in cars, some running all the way down to Hudson Street where Hot 97 was, to get down there just to handle the situation and make sure that that picture was not exposed to the masses and was not delivered through Wendy Williams. In all of that fricka-fracas, if you look back, history would tell you that she was let go from Hot 97 over that and had to go to another city to operate out of. And I think she remembers that in the way she should remember, as something that happened that ran her out of town. And then she was able to come back and be the Wendy Williams that she is now today with all the success that she's had. But that was a snafu that day with us and with my godson in that picture, that image. On the chessboard, it didn't look right on any level. Common level, behind the curtain, and high principalities and kingdoms level, it didn't look good.
Crazy, man. So that's the reason why she got fired from Hot 97, because of that picture. That picture of Suge Knight and Misa.
They fired her. I think that situation led to her being fired. The pressure from old boy in regard to that.
Later, Wendy suggested on air that she had a photo of Diddy in a compromising moment. Before she could even talk about it, she was fired. His former bodyguard, Gene Deal, said Diddy was terrified of what Wendy knew about him and wanted her completely gone and silenced.
What was in the picture? Because for some reason, he never went into detail about that.
We were in Cancun, and we were on our way to the Island of Women. You understand? And this is all it was, bruh. For whatever reason, dude was playing with Puff. He went behind him and grabbed his trunks and pulled them down. When he grabbed his trunk to pull us down, some girls that was taking pictures. They took that picture and emailed it back to Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams said she had him in a compromising position and like it was gay, something like that. And she was gonna put it out. So they stopped her from putting it out.
And they got her fired from Hot 97 because of that.
Well, I think that we were in California at the time, and Puff was a layout for either Rolling Stones or what's the other magazine? Rolling Stones, it begins with a B. Billboard, right, thank you. He was shooting layout for either Rolling Stone or Billboard when he had the white suit on. I was the one who put him in the damn pool. What happened is that Wendy had somehow shown people that email. You hear me? She's shown people that email. Puff told Hot 97 if they didn't get rid of her, you understand, before he got back in New York, that they was not gonna get any music from any of his friends, any of the record labels executives that was cool with him. Everybody was gonna boycott their station.
By the time Puff returned from LA, Wendy was already gone. She had been moved to a station in Philly. Just like that, her Hot 97 career was over. Wendy would later go on to say that she was burned at the post for trying to expose a gay rap figure, someone everyone now believes to be Diddy.
There was a radio personality once upon a time. Her name was Wendy Williams, and she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such. And now it's all come full circle. There were many situations, none of which to talk about, but there were many situations back in the day in my career, and it's all coming full circle now, so.
According to recent medical reports, she's completely sane, but the media has convinced everyone she isn't. There are way too many coincidences here for us to think there isn't something shady going on.
I think everyone is just shell-shocked because people like Wendy Williams, people like me, people like Cat Williams, they don't want to believe it. And then even when it's proven, they still don't want to believe it. Like I was watching some footage and remember that terrible apology that Diddy put up?
Yep.
After the Cassie stuff got leaked out all the way? We did commentary on that.
Gene Deal has also previously claimed that this is something Diddy does. He tries to silence people just like he tried to silence him.
And I said that Diddy was trying to contact people for character witnesses, people for who he had problems with before, whatever like that, and trying to talk to them in the whole 9 yards. That's when they dropped that thing with Cassie. The Homeland Security had some agency or whatever like that that deals with that, dropped that thing on Cassie to show everybody, oh, y'all want to help him? Y'all, this is what y'all want to help? This is who y'all want to, say that he ain't never did nothing. This is what you want to put your brand on? And everybody started backing up from him. Everybody was talking about, yo, man, Cassie was a gold digger. Cassie was this, that, and the third. She loved it in the whole 9 yards. And then when they seen that, all his friends or so-called friends, went away. So him not having a bond is not surprising.
Yeah, and he offered them $50 million, and they still denied his bond.
He should have waited to see what they was gonna offer. Because if he got $50 million to get him and offer that, then they think like, yo, that's too little of a money.
And you right about Diddy phone being tapped, because news came out that his former bandmate from Dirty Money, she called the other group member Dunn 58 times trying to get her to stop the lawsuit against Diddy.
She ain't the only one he was trying to get in contact with. You understand? He sent somebody through somebody else to try to get in contact with me, telling me enough is enough. Oh, okay.
For years, Wendy lived a very controlled life. Work, home, blinds shut, food, Lifetime movies, then repeat. She joked about it, but in reality, she had no freedom, no friends, no life outside the studio. When Kevin found out she planned to quit the show and move on, he tried taking everything from her.
Kevin had secret meetings with production, told them Wendy's plan to quit the show and to go back to radio, and everybody, and I mean Kevin, production, as well as Wells Fargo Bank, they figure out a way to put and lock Wendy into a conservatorship. Now, the plan was to, of course, keep Wendy medicated, but keep her just medicated enough to where she could just work, and then they could still be in control of her, if that makes sense.
That's when Wendy's behavior on TV started to shift. Some days she looked tired, confused, or unsteady. Viewers thought she was sick or dealing with health issues on her own, but the truth was beyond horrifying. Storm went on to reveal that she was being drugged by her own people.
My exclusive source telling me that on the set of the television show, Wendy was actually being drugged. And when Wendy was being drugged, she was being drugged through her teeth. Okay, if you guys remember, every single day, well, Monday through Friday, and well, actually the show taped Monday through Thursday, and they did the Thursday and Friday show on Thursday. So anyway, 5 tapings a week. Every single taping, she always had what? Her cup. What was in her cup? Her tea. Now, a lot of the audience and the public assumed she was putting some whiskey in there. She had liquor. Sometimes it was wine. No, baby. It was tea. It was tea. And even though she put her own tea bag in there and she would drop her own cough drop in there, she was not the one heating up the water and bringing it to the actual desk. So whoever was in charge of her hot water to be there ready for her to dip her tea bag in, that's probably who y'all need to look at. I can't say no names, but that's all I can say is that she was literally being drugged through her tea that she drank every single day. Okay, whatever they was dropping in there to drug Wendy, to make her look loopy, to make her seem loopy and delirious, so she could eventually be pushed into a conservatorship, actually started to like she started to have negative effects with it, okay? The reason why her lymphedema started to act up was because of what she was being drugged with. When Wendy was falling over the chair and calling out to her mom even after her mom had died, she was being drugged. She was being, but she didn't, of course she didn't know it. She wasn't aware of it. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been drinking out of that cup.
And funnily enough, Kevin ended up being kicked out of the very plan he started.
With that being said, at some point, Kevin was kicked out of this plan to put Wendy in this conservatorship. So think about who was all involved with this. Production, and by production, I mean production / the network, right? Wells Fargo, and then, of course, Kevin. But Kevin got kicked out the circle. Kevin got kicked out of the circle, and then the white folks took over. And from what my source is telling me, it's not even just that the white folks took over, it's that them people are gonna always stick together. Wink, wink. So you put together what and who them people is.
I'm not gonna say what race, what people, doctor, and what hospital, and what media it went to.
That's all I can say. Now, like I said, the plan was for Wendy to be put in a conservatorship, be medicated, but be medicated enough to be able to come back to work and do her job. Okay, the network was going to use Wendy until they could no longer use her, and then she was going to mysteriously get deleted in some kind of accident or a fake self-deletion. That's another thing in this industry too. The way that the deaths, the way that the deletions happen, not only are they ritualistic, but a lot of times they're planned.
The fact that the people around her tried to put her under financial conservatorship is even more horrifying when considering that Wendy was known to be very financially savvy. It made absolutely no sense that the people trying to take control of her were claiming she wasn't in the right state of mind to make financial decisions. Here's Wendy talking about how she made smart decisions when it came to money.
What were some of the most important things you've learned about having money and keeping money?
Well, I learned from my mom to always have my own. There's nothing wrong with, not disclosing the balances and things like that. I also, a woman's got to know how to make her way. You've got to know how to get a mortgage. You've got to know, what the light bill is, even if you're married, because you never know when a marriage could go left. That's the first thing. I've also learned that it is a fool who co-signs on loans for people that they aren't married to. I don't care if you are my boyfriend and we've lived together for 15 years, Vlad. I am not co-signing on the loan for you to get your new Toyota. Unless I've got a dope career with dope money, and in the back of my mind, I know, oh, by the way, if I co-sign on the loan, then it's my car, you're just driving it. I'm gonna be on the title and everything. And I know that if you and I break up, I keep the car and you go your own separate way, and those little car notes are nothing. That's for the woman, with a large bank account. I've also learned about money that all money is not good money. I like to think that Kevin and I operate our business off of integrity. We've been turning down deals and schmeals since the radio days, lots of them. If it's not fitting into our moral wheelhouse or the convenience now that we're parents of being able to look out for our son and each other, then we're not doing it. We might have to wait a little bit longer for our ship to come in, but our quality of life is great, and that to me is what marks success, quality of life.
Now, many people have wondered how Diddy would have been able to engineer something like this. The thing is, something like this wouldn't have been very difficult for him to pull off, given he always made sure to do it through other people. It's an open secret in the industry that Diddy made many people disappear, but what isn't known is that the man responsible for carrying out these disappearances was actually his head of security, Mr. Fix-It Fahim Muhammad.
According to the lawsuit filed earlier this year by rapper Lil Rod, accusing Diddy of this. Mr. Combs made it clear that his head of security, Fahim Muhammad, had the power to make people and problems disappear. This is what he said in the court papers. Mr. Combs instructs his staff to always contact Mr. Muhammad if they are ever pulled over by the police in Miami or California. Lil Rod claims that Muhammad has close connections with the LAPD. After Diddy's Beverly Hills mansion was raided, the security head was photographed arriving at the property surrounded by police. Mohammed also helped cover up Diddy's alleged of his son, Justin's friend known as G, in court documents.
Combine this with how Diddy's tried to regularly silence his enemies, whether by taking their lives or driving them crazy, it doesn't seem all that unlikely that Wendy didn't suffer the same fate. While Diddy has been in prison, something unexpected happened at FCY Fort Dix. Instead of the usual cold, rushed Thanksgiving, Diddy actually teamed up with a group of inmates called Bankroll Bosses and personally planned and paid for a full Thanksgiving meal for about 1,000 people. Normally, the prison serves a tiny Thanksgiving meal where everyone just grabs a tray and keeps moving. But this time, Diddy and a few inmates wanted it to feel different. They bought ingredients from the commissary, spent 2 whole days cooking, and then delivered the food to every housing unit. Each building got enough for around 200 people, so nobody was left out. It seems Diddy has become quite the saint in prison.
Every day I will see that. It was. He wasn't just preaching. I feel like he was learning too. He was growing with us. He wasn't above us. He was growing with us.
Yeah.
That's what made it real. It made it so genuine. Made us connect so strongly with him.
Did he ever talk about any regrets that he had or use his own life as examples when he was teaching you guys in terms of his mistakes and his failures?
The regrets, he will always tell us to stay away from, because he said when you're under the influence, he said you will make very poor decisions and your mind will be clouded and you'll think you're making the right choices, but you're not, because you're not 100% of yourself at that moment.
Diddy said he just wanted to make sure people felt cared for, especially during a time when being away from family hits the hardest. He put it in simple words. Thanksgiving to me is about making sure other people eat. Everybody misses their family. People get depressed during the holidays. We just wanted to come together as a family and do our own thing. But many people don't believe this is sincere. This could just be his way of winning back some positive PR after the horrific allegations that came up against him. What do you think? Do you think that he had something to do with what happened to Wendy Williams? Let us know in the comments.